We were breakdancers from the Bay.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, we're breakdancers.
But what were your power moves?
Growing up, head spins.
Head spins?
Everything. Flares. I had everything.
So
flips.
you're Zuko IRL.
Yeah, maybe at a certain time in my life when there was things in Avatar when he was doing kind of like breakdance and flares and stuff, kind of like they're like, did they do it because you're a breakdancer? I'm like, I don't know, but it fit the right tone.
I'm always curious when you're seeing it animated for the first time and you can actually do these moves. Do they ever look a little too good or a little too?
I was like a lightsaber coming, coming to get you.
Welcome down to the Kessel Korner, everybody. Today's guest is Dante Basco.
Hello, Zuko here.
What would you say is like your biggest trial as an actor for your live action? We'll get into voice acting later, but what would you say is your biggest trial on set, or it could be offset, it could be behind the scenes, right? As an actor today.
I mean, first of all, I've been an actor for longer than you've been alive, for sure. I think
I'm 28.
40 years.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah.
Way long. You're only 28?
Yeah. How old did you think I was, though?
I don't know, 30.
Yeah, it's the beard and the bald.
Beard. Yeah, 30. But I got to LA 85, 86. So like almost 40 years. That's how long I've been acting.
Wow.
But so, yeah, I don't know. So it's a long, like, trials. There's so many, I don't know. This is a crazy business. I mean, you're in the business. This is a crazy life to live.
It's a crazy life.
And I've been doing it for like 4 decades.
Dude, you ever get tired?
I'm exhausted right now. I've been tired for like 20 years. No, I think it's weird because it's obviously it's amazing. It's fun. I grew up in this town. I love being from LA and kind of being a Los Angelino now. I like everywhere you look. I'm like, we're looking at the Capitan Theater. You're like, oh, I remember things that happened. They're going to see things there, being things there. The Man's Theaters are here. You have memories of certain things, shooting there, having premieres at the Chinese. It's great. But yeah, as far as like what's your hardest trial? The biggest trial for, I think, any actor who's been around for any amount of time is just, the survival.
Longevity in the career, right?
Yeah. The thing about it is everyone knows when you're doing well. And if you're on a show or you have a movie and, you're getting paid all that money for that amount of time, you're traveling the world, whatever. That's great. But the reality is in this industry, more than not, you are unemployed 10 times longer than you're employed, if you're lucky. If you're lucky to be on a show for 5 years, 10 years, like who gets to be on Friends? Who gets to be like 0.0001%? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're doing gigs and the gigs end. The movie ends. The show ends. And it's about the trial. This whole town's about how to live in between the gigs.
And so what have you done to pivot while in between those gigs? Because I don't think a lot of people understand, the whole point of this podcast is to inspire the next generation of great actors and personalities and musicians, etc. But what would you recommend to do, and what have you done in those pivot times, maybe earlier on in your career, of surviving?
Yeah, I was always in class. I was always studying. Acting, me and my brothers and my friends, we were always like in the pursuit of greatness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like studying. So when you're studying, you're like going to acting class, anywhere at different times of our life, from like 1 day a week to like 5 days a week, and including, conservatory classes where you're like, not just studying acting and doing scene work, you're also doing voice production work, you're doing movement work, you're doing, play reading classes. Like, so you're doing all this stuff, and then you start producing. I mean, I think I produced 100 or so theater productions, whether they be showcases or plays. This is before the online things started happening where young artists are like shooting content.
Right.
There's no shooting content. Our content back then was like, let's do a play. Let's do some scenes. Let's put some actors together and do some scenes and invite industry to come watch it. And like, maybe you get a new agent, maybe a new cast director find you. So I was constantly involved and constantly working on something. I've never been the type to be like, oh, just waiting for the next audition to come around. So, I mean, that you have agents, you have managers. That's their job to find you opportunities. But at the same token, we're here. I mean, I had a band. The other thing is you just create a life, right? So I didn't go to college. I wanted to go to college. I thought about going to college. I applied. I thought I was going to go to New York. I got accepted at NYU.
Wow.
Yeah, I went there for a summer. It just didn't work out. They really wanted me to like not work at all and just study. And which is cool, but like I'm a blue collar kid. I'm like, how am I going to pay for college?
Absolutely.
If I don't work, I've been working since I was 10. I can't. I don't come from money. Like, what am I going to do? And so I was like, I'm here. I'm just going to work.
Quick question. So did you always want to be an actor then? Or did it kind of just naturally blossom for your life?
I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
You know, but I started when I was 10.
You started working when you were 10?
Yeah.
So your first job was working on set.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
But before that, I was a breakdancer. So me and my brothers were breakdancing in the Bay Area, and then we became pretty popular. We were a group called the Street Freaks. Street Freaks.
Great name.
And we were cool. Like, I was popping fresh, and it was my 4 brothers. It's like we're born into a boy band, like 4 brothers around the same age. But then we were on the streets of San Francisco and the Bay Area and Berkeley, Telegraph Avenue, Pier 39, and we're like literally those kids out there doing routines in front of whoever, battling people in the streets. We did like the halftime show for the 49ers. We did like 4th inning, 7th inning stretch shows for the Oakland A's.
You're joking.
Yeah, no. And then we started doing opening acts for like Vanity or like Ice-T. And we started getting paid as dancers. And then we got scholarship. We got picked up. And we got scholarships to the San Francisco Ballet Company.
Ballet? Did you do ballet as well?
So we studied San Francisco. We had lifetime scholarships at the time. The San Francisco Ballet Company, which is a very renowned place, and they took us like, you know, b-boys. I guess they needed more boy dancers, and they were like, "How do we get all these boy dancers?" Well, we know there are boy dancers out there, but they're break dancers, and so we went from like baggies and friggin' sweatsuits to tights.
Yeah.
Which, you know, you came from the world of the fine arts.
Oh, wore tights all the time, man.
It's crazy, though, because being from, like, a blue-collar family and from the streets and then stepping into this fine arts world as a very young kid, I always think of it as, like, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's like you're just...
And you had a knack for it, though.
Well, you have a knack for it, but it's like there's a world that exists that you didn't know existed. Like, you stepped into, all of a sudden, we're in these theaters, these grand old theaters, beautiful, you know, gold leaf theaters. There's just like opera houses and ballet houses. And you're doing the Nutcracker in front of all these people. And you're meeting all these old people. You don't know, how would I ever be around any of these friggin' people?
Yeah.
And they value you for dance or opera or sing. Like, it was as if you're just coming into the wizarding world and there's all this magic happening that you have.
Does it still blow your mind?
Oh,
that
100%.
Because the way you describe it is like phantasmical.
It is fantastic. It is.
It's a whole nother world, which is so cool. And I honestly, I completely understand where it's like just going from very academia for my own family and just like doing Kumon multiple times a week. And just like always working. My mom was, you know, we were lucky that my mom stayed home and took care of us. She made us work. I was grading SAT papers by the time I was like 11 years old, you know? So when you said you started when you were 10, I was like, I'm right there with you of just like, we were forced to work and had to always have a job while always prioritizing education. And I started doing music, and my dad was a musician,
really,
but he was on the business side of music. Okay. And, you know, he was always, every time.
When did the voice come?
16.
16, the voice dropped?
Yeah. Voice dropped, started performing at the Boston Symphony, and the rest was history.
At 16, you were like this?
Yes, sir. And my dad, even when I was getting paychecks, he was like, you need to get a real job. You need to, because it was the same thing. It was that scarcity of you don't have a job for 3 months now.
Well,
it's like, okay, yeah, you're like, he's kind of right. Like I do need to.
Well, that's the biggest thing for any actor, artist, musician to get. You know, it's the biggest threshold to kind of get through is the fear of not knowing the next time you're going to get paid.
Yeah, it's starving artists whole life.
It's crazy because the normal person, we all know, we all just got a job. You know, your parents. Everyone has a paycheck, the 1st and 15th, whatever, and we know what that is. Whether it's big or small, you make your life fit those parameters. But when you don't know if or when, if you're ever gonna get paid again,
yeah, dude,
it's like how do you live?
And it's still, I mean, doing social media.
Yeah, I mean, it's great.
It's still that way. You just never know when views will drop or what's based, if it's which platform works which way.
But that changed the game. Social media has changed the game for the artists because it gave us, for the first time in the history of the arts, our own distribution.
Yes,
Really,
absolutely.
at the end of the day, distribution, whether it's big or as small as it could be, it's like if you can make art, which we all need to make art, and no one for the beginning of time, you had to sell your soul, or someone had to do something to distribute the art that you're doing, whether it's acting or music. And at this point in time, we're in Hollywood. That's always in play. The studios, the labels, everything. But there's also us just putting it out there and being able to distribute it to an audience and finding an audience. It doesn't matter if it's millions. It doesn't matter if it's 1,000. It doesn't matter. It's somebody out there that is receiving the art that you're doing that you can then monetize. It was a game changer.
I think the best part too is getting in touch with people's lives,
Yeah.
where it's like for you and you know, like going from villain in Avatar, especially like villain to hero, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, wow, you are people's hero. You're part of my childhood for
Hey,
sure.
I'm
Like, and it's
flattered.
you know, it's incredible to see like what's possible with the world of acting and how it actually impacts people on that bigger scale.
Well, at the end of the day, it's just storytelling. We're all storytellers, and it's about you go to Comic-Con. I met you at a Comic-Con. I do voice acting, I do on-screen acting, I do stage acting, podcasting, all different forms of medium. And what it really comes down to is wanting to be a part of a great story. And some of us that had the good fortune of being a part of some great stories, and the great stories are the ones that resonate and kind of have this, global impact. And we don't know so many things that go on with so many movies come out every year that there's so much content. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And things you like really love or like, or you see, but then there's some that will. I mean, Avatar's now it's celebrating its 20th year. You're like, wow.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. And that stuff kind of blows your mind.
I'm
You're
just thinking about like 20 years ago.
This is crazy.
Wait, so it came out when I was 8? It feels like
Yeah.
I was older
I don't
for
know.
some reason because it's like
It's part of me.
Maybe
But
it's
then
'cause,
it's one of those things that kind of gets on loops later on.
yeah,
in life.
exactly. Is it cool to be part of the project where it's like, I mean, you were in your 20s when you started it, then,
Yeah.
and like to be part of it still, like how does that feel? Like the legacy of it all.
I was just tripping today doing some stuff for Avatar Studios or on the podcasting side with Braving the Elements, where we had some of the executives from Avatar on, and we were talking about this whole world that's growing and growing, and things coming out, TV shows and films and books and comics. And I was like, wow, man, when we started this, I had no idea that this world was going to happen. And that, these people too, the different executives and stuff, were talking like, hey, I don't know if your first fandom, for me it was like Star Wars for sure, or if you're a Star Trek person or Doctor Who person or whatever. What are these things or Harry Potter or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
And just, I'm a fan of all these things like everyone else, but then to be a part of one from the Genesis,
Yeah.
you're like, what?
Do you ever watch the episodes, or is it?
I
Do you
know-
see your voice and you're
I
like,
never
"I can't."
watched it for years. I mean, I saw it every now and then, but then I got hired by Avatar Studios and Nickelodeon to do the podcast Braving the Elements with Janet Varney, the voice of Korra. And our whole thing is to go through every episode. We went through the original series, and we get to our guests are like Mike and Brian, the creators, and all the cast members and the musicians, and just all the people that actually made the show. Us going in and like different episodes, them guesting on different episodes and going and deep diving. It's like we're still in the middle of it now. We're in the middle of doing Korra. It's like getting a PhD in this whole fandom, and it's so heavy to see what it's meant to me in my life, and kind of like, wow, being involved in this IP, being involved in one of these magical worlds like Star Wars or whatever, these things. It's just you just feel so fortunate, but then also to understand what it's meant to other people, and to see, especially when you go to cons, and to see that you're a part of other people's lives in a really, big or small way, whatever. But the story, your stories are part of their story. It's phenomenal.
Absolutely. Speaking of the cons, what is your craziest fan interaction that you've ever had?
God.
Is it safe to even share?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's been a lot of years. Look, I'm like kind of like now I'm like, it's weird because now I'm like an OG kind of type in the con world, because I've been doing cons for like, I want to say 15 years.
Wow.
Right before, and I've seen the con world become like what it is today. It's before it was like, when I first got invited to some cons, I was like, well, I'm not gonna go to Comic-Con, like, because you're like, the cons is like it's a place for has-beens. You just have this idea of like just a weird hall with just has-been people in there and like weirdos and I'm like, I'm too young. I don't know how to go to the con. And then like I got an invite to go to like Australia.
Oh, nice.
For free, like. So first class ticket, Australia for 2 weeks, hit a con. You're like, yeah, I don't care what I got to do. I'd never been in Australia at that time. And so that really started me on the con scene. And then just over the years, I kind of been a part of the community. What you realize is it's a beautiful community. And it blew up after COVID happened, and then nostalgia happened, and then it became this, a buzzword, and then it became like it's just a what is, like being a part of what is, and it wasn't such this really kind of exclusive, kind of just really, nerdy cult. There's still some elitists. There's still some There's still some elite kind of like nerd fandoms that are cool, but it's also become much more open to everyone. It's a very inclusive community. But what I found out as I've been doing it, because I didn't grow up in the nerd scene, I grew up in the LA club scene. Like I'm a club kid. Like I grew up roaming the streets of Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset and going to clubs and everything. So I grew up in that world, in the world of hip hop. And so when I got embraced by the nerd scene, I was like, well, what can I do? It's all about being authentic too. It's just like being online. Like It's authenticity. Like, who are you? I'm happy you guys embrace me, but I don't know this stuff. I don't know. I didn't grow up nerdy like this. I'm trying to get my nerd card, and we can, because you can get your nerd card because we all geek out about something.
Of course.
And so it's about kind of getting in touch with that. But then I was like, well, let me bring what I bring to it. And so I started throwing clubs as a give back to the community. And because all my friends at that time, like now, they all ran the clubs or owned the clubs, and they would give me like supper club on like a Wednesday night, or the Hemingways on like a, some off night. Like, no, we're not doing it that night. You want it? Take it. And then I would throw a club and invite the nerd scene, and we'd sell it out, and I would DJ.
Great.
It was great. And you
were DJing? That's crazy, man.
I DJ'd.
Why wasn't I invited?
I know. There'll be more.
Cool.
The people are hitting me up again. So I get a little nervous about it, and then we did like opening parties for San Diego Comic-Con, and it's been really cool. So the craziest things that happened, or those parties were crazy, of course.
Going back to Avatar though.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about how there's such good storytelling as an actor. I mean, there's a big story coming out soon, right?
Oh, movie. The movie's coming out.
All right, cool. Give us the entire.
No, I don't know. I don't know anything about the movie. I know the movie's the grown up group, and so I'll know about it too as it comes. I don't know myself. Like, I'm still working for Avatar. Right now, it's just the capacity is one of the podcasters. What's crazy is I've been working for Avatar for 20 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
20 years.
Because I did the first series, and I came back and I played my grandson on Korra, and then it was, it was kind of nothing was coming out for years, and then they started this podcast, and I've been doing this now for 4 years. That's awesome. Now we're ambassadors of the place. A lot of things are happening. There's series coming out. There's movies coming out. They're like, we'll get to know as we know. But we're in the midst of the 20-year anniversary of the original show, and so we'll see. We'll see how this year pans out before all the new stuff comes out. Oh, man, that's amazing. Well, there's one last thing I wanted to do with you real quick. Yeah. Which is this segment's called Reclip. And we're going to take... I know that you were in a movie with Robin Williams. Yes. You were in Hook. Yeah. And you were Rufio. You were the star of the Ragamuffins. Yeah, the Little Lost Boys. The Little Lost Boys. And so... we're going to, because Robin Williams is so iconic. Rest in peace, Robin Williams. Rest in peace, one of the greatest actors in all time. Yes. We're going to read a little scene. We're going to do a reclip of it? We're going to do a reclip of it. Okay. Which is from Good Will Hunting. Okay. And I'm going to be reading as Robin. I'm going to be Matt Damon. You're going to be Matt Damon. You're going to be Will. We're doing the heavy scene? We're doing the heavy scene now. to end out the podcast, but you're gonna read it as Zuko. I'll do a Zuko, okay. And I'm gonna read it as Rick from Rick and Morty. Okay, let's do it. It's not your fault, Morty. Yeah, I know that. Look at me, Morty. It's not your fault. I know. It's not your fault. I know. No, you don't. It's not your fault. I know.
It's not your fault.